This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLesio and Kenny Bergamy.
Well, season's greetings and welcome to a special edition of the Farm Monitor. Special because
it's that time of year again. Time when we recap all the latest happenings and updates from the Georgia Farm Bureau's annual convention. Convention number 82, mind you, and one of the many guests in attendance, motivational speaker and farmer Chris Cook. Folks, let me tell you, this guy is simply amazing and his outlook on life, an inspiration to say the least. You're going to want to stick around to hear it. Also, her unique approach to teaching and the connection she has with her students has earned Barrow County's Diana Cole the 2019 Georgia Ag in the Classroom Teacher of the Year Award. The special projects Diana and her students worked on to help promote ag throughout Statham Elementary.
Plus, it's the season of giving and area farmers are giving back to help feed the hungry. All this and more starts right now on the Farm Monitor.
For the record, the 82nd Annual Georgia Farm Bureau Convention was once again a success. As always, there was plenty of food, fun, and fellowship, and yes, the brief threat of Mother Nature unleashing her fury on things. Yeah, not exactly beach weather, if you know what I mean. Then again, this convention isn't about working on your tan or going for long strolls through the sand. Although there was the occasional sightings. No, the GFB annual meeting is about reconnecting with fellow members and growing together, which, by the way, was the theme for this year's convention.
I like to come down here for the camaraderie of friends. A lot of them I don't see but once a year at places like this, or maybe 2 or 3 times a year at other events. But we have friends that we've met from extreme North Georgia to extreme South Georgia and both ends of the region.
I remember when we used to meet over at the Jekyll Island Club, and our committee meetings would take place in some tents they had set up there. It was a historic place, but this is so nice. You know, without Farm Bureau, a lot of farmers wouldn't have a voice. And we're so proud to be a part of this organization, and we're so pleased with what they offer the agriculture community in the state of Georgia.
Fellowship aside, the GFB annual convention can also be an educational experience, both for consumers and for vendors. Take citrus, for example. With Florida's production on the steady decline, Georgia in recent years has stepped in to fill that void. So, for Lindy Savell, owner of Georgia Grown Citrus, convention has plenty of appeal.
It's huge because it's so many farmers that come through here that don't even know we can grow citrus in the state, and we provide a sample to them and talk to them about how citrus is grown here in Georgia. It's just one of the most popular events for farmers to actually come and talk to you.
Aside from all the free ice cream, another highlight of the annual convention, the always popular motivational speaker, and this year was no exception. At Monday's appreciation luncheon, attendees were treated to the life stories of Chris Cook. A farmer by trade, Chris says the fact he was born with no arms and no legs has never stopped him from doing whatever came his way, including farming. In fact, he says in a strange way, there's a lot of parallels between the two.
There's going to be adversity in life, and agriculture, I mean, there's so many factors that are completely out of an individual's control. So you have to be an adverse, resilient person to ride those highs and lows in agriculture. And I guess I've been pretty good at riding those highs and lows in my life, and I think there's a correlation for sure. And the fact that I'm not just a person who's dealt with adversity in life, but also a person who's dealt with adversity and has an ag background, there's kind of a pretty good marriage there.
Meantime, in his yearly address to members, Georgia Farm Bureau President Gerald Long spoke of the many challenges GFB and its members faced in 2019, not only from Mother Nature, but other factors the ag industry faces year in and year out. Yet in spite of those challenges, President Long said he could not be prouder of how the organization responded, the way members stepped up, embraced change, and continued to share the story of America's farmers. He also used the occasion to officially announce Farm Bureau's new mobile ag classroom.
The unit is under construction right now, so it is going to happen. At this convention next year, we will be unveiling the new mobile ag classroom. For the first time, our organization will drive across the state educating children about how agriculture benefits Georgia and its citizens. We will provide them an honest and accurate picture of what agriculture does and what it will do in the future.
All right, much more from Jekyll coming up a bit later in the show, but first, few things symbolize the holiday season more than a Christmas tree. So it's a good thing there are plenty of tree farms spread throughout Georgia. Case in point, Wheeler's Christmas Tree Farm in Tunnel Hill, Georgia.
Back when me and my wife first started dating, we always, that was her tradition, her and her mom's tradition to go cut their own tree. So I started when we started dating. I'd go with them to cut their own tree, and then the little tree farm that we always would go to. We loved it, loved the atmosphere, and we was blessed with this property. So we decided that, and was wanting to keep the property up and maintain it, and we thought, what better way to do that than to plant Christmas trees? So that's how the Christmas tree got started, and then it kind of grew. We planted, I think, 500 to start with, and then planted another lot of 600, another lot of 800, and we kind of just gradually grew with it, and we've been blessed. It's turned out to be bigger than what we ever thought it would. We'll open up the weekend before Thanksgiving, and then we'll sell up to about 3 weeks after that, and depending on the trees we have left and the selection we have left, would close down early if we didn't have enough trees. But if we got plenty of trees, we'll try to stay open as long as possible. And I have sold trees up Christmas Eve. I mean, that's crazy, but we're always available. So if anybody needed a tree, they could call us, and we'd be glad to open the farm up. Even if we were kind of closed and they needed a tree last minute, we could do that. So that's typically how we try to accommodate all the customers. The funnest part selling trees is seeing the families and the kids come out and enjoy the farm and walk around and enjoy that we got music, and on the weekends, if weather permit, we have the hay rides and stuff. And that's what keeps us going. It's a full-time, part-time job, because there's always something that you can do. A lot of times I'll neglect it, but just selling the trees and seeing the families come out, that's what's so rewarding about it. I never will forget the feeling that standing there on the front porch Thanksgiving morning, opening day, and thinking, are we going to sell one tree? And me and my wife would be pacing back and forth, and we was like, are we going to sell a tree or not? And I heard the gravel popping, and I remember the feeling of that first customer. And to me, that first customer meant everything. And I think we appreciate everybody that comes out here to this farm so much, because it wouldn't be possible without every customer coming out. And I think and all of our help and all the friends and family that come out, they really appreciate everybody that comes out. And it's just a blessing to be a part of it. And I think maybe that may be why we've grown, because we are very appreciative of our customers. And like I say, I appreciate everybody that comes down the driveway, whether they buy a tree or not. It's just fun to meet them and talk to them and hear their story. And that's just community and the fellowship we get from meeting people and hearing their story, and they hear ours, and we're all in this together.
And folks, don't forget, if you missed any part of this story or others on today's program, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel, The Farm Monitor. Lots of stuff there, in fact, 10 years worth. The archive goes all the way back to 2009. And while you're there, keep clicking and like the Farm Monitor Facebook page. Also, if you have a story idea, or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, send us a message either on Facebook or at the address on your screen. That is news@farm-monitor.com.
Up next, the amazing story of how this Barrow County elementary teacher inspired her students to embrace agriculture and the unique ways in which they are using it in the classroom.
All right, welcome back to the Farm Monitor and to our coverage of the 82nd Annual Georgia Farm Bureau Convention from Jekyll Island. One of the many highlights of the convention is the Celebrating Ag Literacy program, sponsored by the GFB Women's Leadership Committee. During this time, all former State Women's Committee members were recognized, along with the current committee members. In a heartfelt farewell, outgoing Women's Chair Nancy Kennedy thanked Farm Bureau members for their love and support over the last year. She also introduced the incoming chairwoman, Heather Cabe of Franklin County. All of us here at the Monitor wish Heather the best of luck in the year to come.
Additionally, that part of convention is when Georgia Farm Bureau also recognizes the teacher who takes it upon themselves to go the extra mile by incorporating agriculture into their daily and weekly lesson plan. Its official name, the Georgia Excellence in Teaching Ag Educator Award. This year's recipient, Diana Cole, who teaches at Barrow County Statham Elementary and is part of Georgia's newly formed Ag Ed Elementary School pilot program. With over 35 years of teaching experience, 13 of which have been spent at Statham, Diana's principal writes, "I consider Mrs. Cole to be an extremely valuable asset to Statham Elementary School and to Barrow County School District. She is honest, dependable, incredibly hardworking, and has a drive that not only influences the students that she works with, but also the faculty, staff, parents, and the entire Statham community." Here now, in her own words, Diana Cole, on being named the 2019 Ag Teacher of the Year.
The whole school was in there, and it's something that I would describe like a sports star going in and hearing, everybody cheering for them. Teachers don't usually get that recognition, and so I was totally shocked, to say the least, that was happening. But it was, rewarding too, to know that the work that I've done here was, being seen. So I was glad for myself, for my school too, and for the county. We do a lot with ag in our county, and I was glad to see all the work that we have done, that this is paying off for us.
It's amazing. The passion that she shares, actually, she's able to kind of exude that passion to other teachers, anyone across the district at other schools. She has a great impact on the success of students and how she can pull in curriculum and instruction and make it life applications through the garden aspect. She's been a joy, and I mean, our community has had the opportunity to benefit from just all of her expertise and her knowledge, her love, her passion, just everything that she's able to do here at Statham.
We took a tour briefly around the school, and you showed me everything that's at your fingertips, resources. How lucky are you to have a school that supports you doing what you're doing and building the boxes and having the chicken house and everything? I mean, how lucky are you?
Very fortunate. I know other schools are not so fortunate. In the building, I have a very, the administrator, Dr. James, she is behind us 100%, not just in the building, but the county. We have a Farm to School Booster Club. I think it's the only one in the state that has a Farm to School Booster Club where we raise money for the things that we do. We have irrigation in our garden right now. That was because of this Farm to School Booster Club. I've been teaching for over 30 years, and I enjoy the Farm to School because it's something different and something the kids enjoy. It's not just paper and pencil work. The kids went out this week to the garden, found quadrilaterals in the garden. They were pointing out parallelograms that I said, oh, I didn't even realize that was up there. So I feel like they're going to be going out in the world and looking at it differently after this week. Oh yes, we learned about shapes in the classroom, but I can see what the shapes are when I'm looking around at the real world.
I think they see her as a true role model for them. I hear a lot of the young ladies saying, man, I can't wait to have my own garden when I become a mom, or when I become a wife, or when I have a family. So just kind of making these connections early on, we know that it's making a lasting impression because kids are having conversations about the things they want to do when they, become Miss Gold's age.
When that time comes and you've taught your last lesson and you've closed that door for the last time, what do you want your legacy to be?
I would like to see what I have done continue. We're doing the pilot program for the Georgia Elementary Ag Program, and I want to see that in the state really take off and go, not just for the 26 schools, but to be in all the schools. And I would like to, just be that teacher that the kids hate to see leave, And that's, sometimes when teachers retire, you say, yeah, if it's time for her to go, I want to be that one that they say, nope, we're sad to see her go.
Amazing lady, isn't she? Diana Cole, your 2019 Ag in the Classroom Teacher of the Year. And as the winner of this award, Diana will be attending the National Ag in the Classroom Conference this summer in Salt Lake City. Kenny?
All right, Ray, thanks so much. Unfortunately, Macon, Georgia has one of the highest poverty rates in the entire country. But after the break, Damon Jones with a story on what the ag community is doing to make sure that families in need do not go hungry.
With 5 years of challenging milk prices in the rear view, U.S. dairy producers have much to be thankful for this year. Improving milk prices and other economic signals point to an optimistic year ahead, says University of Wisconsin dairy policy analyst Mark Stevenson.
I think that we've had a difficult time maybe experiencing optimism in the industry, but prices are more than $1 higher today than they were the same time last year. So people are beginning to feel like maybe we're on the backside of that. And I do think we are.
Milk prices are extremely complex and include many factors, Stevenson says. Here in the U.S., the industry tends to primarily focus on milk supply and consumer demand for dairy products. Domestic demand today is very encouraging. It's the highest in more than 50 years.
We've had some strength in our domestic demand for dairy products. Report recently from the Economic Research Service that showed we had higher per capita consumption of all dairy products than we've had since I think 1965. So that's been a good thing.
That increase is mostly led by growing demand for cheese and butter. Americans today consume a little more than 36 pounds of cheese per person, Stevenson says.
We should continue to fight for all the sales that we can get in those product categories, but you got to look at the whole picture. I heard one person comment that rather than drinking our milk, now we're eating our milk.
While dairy exports have rebounded to a certain extent, Stevenson adds that milk supply has contracted and remained flat during 2019. Stocks of dairy products have also been diminishing throughout the year.
American cheese, for example, usually peaks in June or July of the year. This year, our highest stock value month was in January, and we've been drawing down those stocks ever since. So that's an indication that that market's tightening up, and that's why we've seen some recent activity in spot markets for cheese prices.
As a major player in the world dairy market, there are also global forces at work that can impact milk prices here at home.
We're third largest exporter, and so it matters what our overseas customers want in the way of products. And that's gotten complicated with some of our trade wars and a few other things that have happened. And it also matters what our competitors for those sales into world export markets are.
Trade policy, including the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement and conversations with Japan and China, will also have major impacts in the year ahead, Stevenson explains. For Holstein Association USA, I'm Miles Ramsey.
Finally this week, 'tis the season for giving, and with more than 1.5 million people struggling with hunger in Georgia, The Feeding America program and their 8 food banks across the state are constantly in need of donations.
Damon Jones tells you how farmers have answered the call and what you can do to help.
While most families around the state will be gathering for a big Christmas dinner next week, there are more than 16% of people in Georgia who don't know where their next meal is coming from. It's the reason food banks like this one here in Macon are so vital, as they serve a community that is greatly in need.
Our mission is hunger relief. We want to put ourselves out of business by no one being hungry in middle of Georgia, because we see such a high poverty level in the counties that we serve. We see kids are going hungry over the weekends without a backpack program. When USA Today does an article in July of 2018, it says that Macon is #1 in concentrated poverty in the whole entire state of Georgia and #3 in the United States. That tells you the level of poverty that you're seeing.
And with this food bank serving communities all over Middle Georgia, having organizations that can distribute this food to smaller rural areas is essential.
We live in Wilcox County, and we're one of the smaller counties in the state. And we're not on the interstate, we're off the interstate. So we don't have a lot of industry and trade in our community. And so we have a lot of people that really depend on this food service that's provided through our church and other churches in the community.
With so many moving parts necessary to get the food from the shelves out to the community, it's not just donations of food and money this organization is in need of, but also time.
You can come here and do 3 things for us: donate, advocate, and participate. You donate your money and time if you have money, if you have it. You also participate in what we're doing and volunteering and things like that in the campaigns, because it's very important that those that don't have hope sometimes know there's people out there that want to help them out. So we want them to volunteer. We want them to advocate on our behalf, and of course, if they can, donate money on our behalf, because for every $1 we can provide 5 meals.
One group that has really stepped up to the plate is the agricultural community. Between food donated by individual farmers and the USDA through the Trade Mitigation Program, food banks across the state have seen a major uptick in available supplies.
I think farmers have been the lifeblood of what we do here. From working for Pure Flavor down there and getting the fresh tomatoes and the cucumbers and things of that nature, working USDA with the trade mitigation, where we get the stuff now, when the stuff comes with the trade wars going on, getting this product in that you see. This year we got probably additional 3 million pounds off just the trade mitigation stuff because of the farmers, and they selling stuff to USDA.
That means families in need will receive some fresh produce during the year, which provides them with more nutritious meals.
That's not just helping out David, that's helping out that child that's at their table that eats some sweet potatoes that night, or eat some tomatoes, or eat some things that are healthy to them that they can't get because they're in a food desert somewhere. So farmers are the lifeblood, and we thank them for everything they do.
Reporting from Macon, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Damon, thank you so much, and thank you for watching this special edition of the Farm Monitor.
Before we send you on your way, a quick reminder that for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening out on the farm, be sure you check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and with us here on the show.
Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Farm Monitor.
As always, have a great week.